for the love of trees. So the Jewish holiday of Tu B'Shvat is one that has long been endearing to me, especially as a climate justice activist and an environmentalist and a spiritual person. It's one of 4 Jewish New Years, and these are placed in relationship to the harvest cycle and the cycles of our earth throughout the years. So you might be familiar with Rosh Hashanah, the head of the Jewish New Year, or the head of the year that happens in the fall, but Tu B'Shvat is another New Year. It's the New Year of the trees. And we also sometimes call it the birthday of the trees. As Judaism follows a lunar calendar, this year, just for your reference, Tu B'Shvat falls on February 12th. So we're celebrating a little early. So one thing that I love about Tu B'Shvat is its unseen quality. This is the time of the year, not when trees are in bloom, but when trees are waking up, when the sap begins to rise and the life force returns, preparing for spring. And as I've been reflecting on my own personal life, and I imagine that this resonates with everyone, I think this is universal, much of life happens in the in-between. Much of life happens not in life's peak moments, but growth happens in the liminal space. This is where transformation occurs in the space of becoming. When the chrysalis is still cocooning and the butterfly has yet to emerge. Inside the tree as it awakens from winter and is preparing in an underground, unseen way, but very active inside the tree itself, and the sap begins to rise. In the poem that Kelly just read to us by poet Kathy Ostroff, Jewish poet Kathy Ostroff, every tree was once a seed that waited. And this is true. Every heart in this room also was once fertile ground for the seed of an idea or several ideas that prepared you for choices that you've made in your lives. We germinate newness and we're endlessly becoming all the time. Such as, what do I want for lunch today? Where will I go on vacation? What am I doing this weekend? Who do I want to spend my time with? Where do I want to place my attention? Should I say yes or no to that job? Should I confess my love for that person or ignite that new friendship? Should I make a commitment to what I believe in, and how should I live my values out loud in the world, and what will help me to do so? So one thing that I love also about the holiday of Tu B'Shvat is its Seder meal. You might think that Judaism just has one Seder that happens at Passover. That's also not true. Seder is just the word for a ritual meal. And many people are familiar with the Passover Seder, but less familiar with the Seder for Tu B'Shvat. So this is actually a 4-course meal, completely consisting of fruits and nuts, mainly from trees, but of things that come directly from the earth. The Seder is split into 4 sections according to the 4 mystical worlds of Judaism, which also correspond to the 4 seasons, to different emotions. And I'm going to just explain to you what the 4 worlds are, and then we're going to have not a food-based, but an experiential Seder experience as part of this service. So Asiya is the first world in Judaism. It's the physical world of action and embodiment. Yetzirah is the second world, and it's the emotional world of formation. Beriah is the intellectual world of thought, and Atzilut is the spiritual, formless world. These also, by the way, just physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, in my experience, are more universal or cross-culturally used as a Zen Shiatsu practitioner, for example, which is a Japanese body work form that was influenced by traditional Chinese medicine. We learn to assess the body on the PEMS level, which is physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. And I'll also bring in those same 4 areas later when I talk about Wangari Maathai, an African environmentalist and ecofeminist who inspired planting trees in her Green Belt movement. So that's a teaser, more about that later. So during the first course of the Seder meal, we enter Asiya, the physical world, the element of earth, the season of winter, the energy of groundedness. And for this course, we eat foods that are inedible on the outside, but edible on the inside, such as coconuts, oranges, citrus, pomegranates, pecans, walnuts, hazelnuts. Asiya. During the second course of the Tu B'Shavat Seder, we move to Yetzirah, the emotional world, the inner world, the element of water, the season of spring, the energy of growth and creativity. And for the second course, we eat foods that are edible on the outside, but inedible inside, like apricots and olives, cherries, dates, mangoes, avocados. And because it's Judaism, we drink wine in between each one. The third course of the Tu B'Shvat Seder is in the world of Berea, the mental world of thought, the element of air, the season of summer, energy of openness and abundance. And for this third course, we eat foods that can be eaten whole, such as berries or apples or pears or figs. And then the third and final course is a little bit of a surprise. The Tu B'Shvat Seder happens in the world, in the fourth course of the Tu B'Shvat Seder happens in the world of Atzilut, the spiritual realm, and so we actually don't eat anything for the fourth course. It's the element of fire, the season of fall, the energy of mystery, and instead of eating, we focus on that which we cannot touch, but we can sense. So we actually smell things, pass around things with fragrance, and connect to the unseen. So now we're going to enter an experiential, thoughtful reflection on these 4 worlds. And then I'm going to link it together a little with the Green Belt movement and Wangari Maathai. So when you arrived, you were handed pieces of paper. There are 2 pieces. There are 4 sides. So if you want, you can use each side. And if you don't want to do it that way and you go over or under, it's fine. Okay, so take a deep breath, clear your mind, pause and center for a moment as we enter our Seder. So we begin in the world of physical form. Asiya. The hard outer shell or husk of nuts and fruits can be protective, can provide a container that promotes waiting until the moment is right for eating or planting. Could also symbolize what we show to the outer world, the cover. So I invite you to pause and reflect on these questions. What contains your life? Just as a book needs its cover to protect its pages, we as humans need protection for the books of our lives. What contains you? What holds you when the going gets rough? Maybe what do you tend to show on the outside? And what hull allows you to fall or tumble like a nut from a tree safely to land to your next destination? thinking about these things, and whatever comes to mind for you, I invite you to write your thoughts down on your first side of your cards. And knowing that this is going to percolate for you in an ongoing way, finish those thoughts. And I'm going to take us into the next world of our Seder. And you can come back to this later. You could write for hours if you'd like. But for now, we'll move on to the world of Yetzirah, the world of emotion, of core integrity on the inside. The hard inner part of these tree foods are sometimes called pits or stones. They're actually not just seeds. The stone protects the seed inside. And they're protective of what might germinate in the future. So I'd like to invite you to think about your emotional inner life. And what is it in your core? What's in that inner pit? What is the seed that might be germinating or want to be germinated for you right now? What might desire rooting in your life? Or if that seed is already germinated, where is that taproot of your energy going and seeking to be nurtured? Where does your core creative essence live, or what does it draw from? What is your vital emotional connection that drives you to do those physical things like commit or take root or grow? And write these things on another side of your cards now. Just taking another moment to jot down your thoughts about that core of you. And we'll move into the world of Beriah, of intellect and mind, enjoying a fruit in its entirety and relishing in that wholeness is akin to having an open mind. And it reminds us that the open mind embraces new concepts and remains aware of the interconnectedness and overlapping nature of many universal truths and ideas. So I'd like to invite you on your third card to write down the ideas or truths that you are in alignment with, that you can embrace wholly and fully. Where in life do you find a sense of wholeness or mental clarity? satisfaction? What ideas do you want to consume whole? What brings a sense of expansiveness or fullness to your world? And what do you feel fully open to? And knowing that you can return to this writing later, moving to enter our final worlds, the world of Atzilut, the world of mystery and formlessness. Sometimes that which is invisible, inedible, undetectable is incredibly important. Wind, sunlight, the slow movement of growth that's imperceptible to the naked eye. This great mystery connects to the soul or essence of life itself. On your final card, just allowing yourself to write in stream of consciousness, perhaps. Name that which is invisible that is moving in your life. What unseen forces support or protect you? What unseen elements of the natural world do you feel most in connection with at this moment in your life? And just finding the final word or two to jot down and coming back to the room. And we'll share some of these later, perhaps with each other over coffee or in our dialogue. Thank you for participating in our experiential Tu B'Shavat Seder this morning. And before we enter our weekly dialogue, and I want to note that I know we're going to go a little over, but I don't want to shortchange you on this next piece. So I hope that you are satisfied by my choice in that. Before we enter that, I want to share a little bit more, and I want to say first that, I could have decided, and it would be really nice to do another whole service about Wangari Maathai, right? Or another whole service about trees. Today, I want to honor Wangari Maathai because we're beginning Black History Month, and she's an incredible ecofeminist that did a lot of work with trees, and I think that these subjects overlay on top of one another. And I believe that if I share a little bit with you about her Greenbelt movement, you will see how using these four worlds or the Seder experience can actually be a spiritual tool that we can use in life. It's not just a fun thing that we do once a year in Judaism, right? There's a methodology that's been developed, and there's a spiritual progression. There's actually, I don't know what you're feeling right now, but the intention is to go from very physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, to lead us to mystical experiences through that trajectory, okay? So just to share very briefly about Wangari Maathai, and then I'm going to lift up the 4 key values of the Green Belt movement. So that's what I want to share. So Wangari Maathai was a Kenyan-born activist, scholar, tree planter, and Nobel Peace Prize winner. She founded the Green Belt movement in Africa, which was known not only for reforestation on a grand scale, but also was socially very important. It created jobs for women in Africa, and she was just, I could wax on, but she created an entry point for multiple facets of society to enter her movement and find alignment. And she even inspired the military to think of themselves as holding a gun in one hand and a tree in the other, and that planting trees was protecting their people from the same deep place that so she was pretty cool. We'll put it that way. This encouraged people to become more connected with one of our UU principles, which is becoming stewards of the interconnected web of life. So the Green Belt movement has 4 key values shared in Maathai's book, Replenishing the Earth. You can also find them on the web. So they are love for the environment, gratitude and respect for Earth's resources, self-empowerment and self-betterment, and the spirit and service of volunteerism. So in my mind, the first value, love for the environment, is love for the outer world. It relates to the physical outside shell to me in the first part of the Seder meal. The second key value is gratitude and respect for Earth's resources, those things that we mine inside the earth, right? Water, oil, coal. And that does, for me, link to that internal core, that pit of the second part of the Seder meal. The third value is self-empowerment and self-betterment. So I like to overlay that with the intellectual, mental realm. This value teaches us to turn towards self-reliance and the power to change. Self-empowerment and self-reliance are possible when our minds are expanded to hold unlimited potential. And then finally, we come to the fourth value of the Green Belt movement, the spirit and service of volunteerism, which this value encourages us to give of our time without compensation, appreciation, or even recognition. It's the kind of generosity that is what characterizes prophets or saints or heroes, and that we should not only give to other people, but to the planet or to the more than human world that we're a part of. This is the essence of what keeps community going, and I believe that this connects to that spiritual fourth world of that which can't be necessarily always be seen, but which gives us a spark of life. So that was my fast forward to make that part a little bit shorter so that maybe we can talk for a few minutes. I just want to lift back up that poem, that lovely poem from the beginning. Every seed was once a tree. Every tree was once a tree. Every tree was once a seed that waited.